Hi students, welcome to the platform of eGurukul and Dr. Bhatia Medical Coaching Institute. I am Dr. Ramyasri, your outgoing guru. In this video, I'm going to speak about a very important topic, that is amenorrhea. So I have decided to make a small 10 minutes bit where I'll discuss about amenorrhea and how we are going to differentiate between different types of amenorrhea. And the most important thing, and I want all my eGurukul users to update in your notes, that the amenorrhea definition has been changed and you have to write the amenorrhea definition as per the new what we have now, right? So what is amenorrhea? I think we all know that amenorrhea is absence of menstruation. So what is a new definition what we have for amenorrhea? So for primary amenorrhea, so this definition what we are learning is as per the Williams 4th edition. So primary amenorrhea is those who have not menstruated by age 15 or within 3 years of talaq. So after secondary sexual characteristics have developed, that is breast development or adrenarche. So after 3 years, if we are not getting our menstruation, so then also we can call it as primary amenorrhea. So those who have not menstruated by age 15 or within 3 years of talaq is called as primary amenorrhea. Or the other definition what we have is primary amenorrhea who has not menstruated by age 14 and shows the signs of hirsutism, excessive exercise or eating disorders. So these are the two definitions given according to the Williams 4th edition for the primary amenorrhea. So please kindly update in your notes. So primary amenorrhea is those who have not menstruated by age 15 years or within 3 years of talaq. So after the talaq has come and if they have not menstruated within 3 years of talaq, or those who have not menstruated by 15 years, and it does not mention whether it is without secondary sexual characteristics or with secondary sexual characteristics. So you can still stick to your routine without secondary sexual characteristics, primary amenorrhea up to 13 years. With secondary sexual characteristics, primary amenorrhea up to 15 years. And after development of talaq, if they don't menstruate by 3 years, again you can call it as primary amenorrhea. Another definition what they have added is those who have not menstruated by age 14 years and shows the signs of hirsutism, excessive exercise or eating disorder. So these are added to the definition. Now again, next thing, secondary amenorrhea is for 3 months. So secondary amenorrhea is for 3 months. It is no more like 6 months of amenorrhea or missing 3 regular cycles. So secondary amenorrhea is when they miss their periods for 3 months. Or they have fewer than 9 cycles per year. Or when they have fewer than 9 cycles per year. Right? So kindly update the definitions, guys. Kindly update the definitions of primary as well as secondary amenorrhea. So secondary amenorrhea is those who have not menstruated for 3 months or who have less than 9 cycles in a year. They have to be investigated for secondary amenorrhea. Right? Now, in the recent exam papers, if you're seeing, see, I always tell you that my teaching is purely based on, what the past 5 years question papers we get. So our target is to, have a crisp questions, crisp notes so that you can answer these questions, right? So, in the recent time, if you're seeing, there are a lot of MCQs which are asked on the amenorrheas. So what I thought is, I'll make you small videos whenever you're like free or when you're like stressed out with reading too much. You can watch these videos so that you can just understand the basic things, how you have to approach a question of amenorrhea. So, first, I'm going to discuss about how are we going to differentiate between MRKH versus AIS. So, MRKH stands for Mayer-Rokitansky Kushner-Hauser syndrome versus androgen insensitivity syndrome. Now, if I get a question, how am I going to differentiate whether it is AIS or whether it is MRKH? That is the main motto of this video. So, I'm going to discuss how are we going to differentiate whether it is MRKH or AIS. Now, what is a common in both of them is both of them are having uterus absent. Both of them have uterus absent, but the rest things are different. Now, whenever you get a case of amenorrhea, I want you to observe in a question these 3 things. Whether secondary sexual characteristics are present or not. Whether secondary sexual characteristics are present or absent. So remember, if secondary sexual characteristics are absent, it means they don't have estrogen and estrogen. If secondary sexual characteristics are present, it means their body has estrogen. Next, try to observe what is a gonad if they write. Next, observe whether uterus is present or not. So, gonadal development. First, we have bipotential gonads at 5 weeks of gestation at gonadal ridge. If SRY gene is positive, then gonads will be male testis. If SRY gene is negative, then we have ovary, right? Uterus, whether it is present or absent. The presence and absence of uterus purely depends on whether AMH hormone is present or not in utero. If AMH hormone is present, uterus will be absent. Fourth thing, what I want you to observe in a question is, what is the karyotype? So I want you to always, any question of amenorrhea, you just think in these 4 sets. And when you are able to understand these 4 points, whether these are present or absent, I tell you it's a cakewalk to answer amenorrhea questions. Okay? Now, first let me discuss MRKH, Mayer-Rokitansky, Kushner-Hauser syndrome. This is a complete Mullerian agenesis. This is a complete Mullerian agenesis. So, all the structures which are supposed to be formed from the Mullerian duct are absent. That is uterus, cervix, upper two-third of vagina and fallopian tubes. Only the distal part of the fallopian tubes can be there because there are some studies which tell that distal part of fallopian tube arises from the ovary, right? So basically, why MRKH patients will have amenorrhea? Because they are going to have no uterus. So what is the phenotypically? Absolutely, they look like female. Karyotype, there are 46. So karyotype, there are 46 XX. Phenotype, they are female. So there is gonad ovary present. So ovary will be present and it will be very well functioning. So as the ovary is present, so what will happen to the secondary sexual characteristics? That is breast, axillary and pubic hair and everything. So secondary sexual characteristics are well developed. So breast and axillary and pubic hair are present, right? Now only thing what is absent is uterus. So external genitalia development purely depends on whether dihydrotestosterone is present or absent. So here, as there is no dihydrotestosterone, so external genitalia will be female with blind vagina. Right? Next. So what is the treatment you are going to give her? You have to do vaginoplasty just before marriage. So you can do McIndore's vaginoplasty or Williams vulvovaginoplasty. And she can have her own genetic child because she has ovary. So she can go for surrogacy, and something which has been done in India is you can go for uterine transplantation. So yes, by surrogacy they can have their own genetic child because ovaries are functioning. Is this clear? So MRKH or complete Mullerian agenesis, how did I approach and what I have discussed? So there is absence of both Mullerian ducts. So that is why uterus, cervix, fallopian tubes and upper two-third of vagina is absent. But gonads, that is ovary, is present. So as the gonads ovary is present, secondary sexual characteristics are well developed, right? So external genitalia will be female with a blind vagina. Now coming to AIS. So what is AIS? So AIS is androgen insensitivity syndrome. Androgen insensitivity syndrome. In the name itself, it is very clear that the androgens are insensitive to its receptors. So testosterons are not able to act on its receptor. So it's a testosterone receptor defect. So testosterone cannot act on its receptors. These people are beautiful females. So phenotype, they are females. But karyotype is male. So as it is XY karyotype, so what will be the gonad here? So the gonad here is testis. So when the gonad is testis, obviously AMH will be there. So as AMH is there, uterus will be absent. Male ductal system, that is Wolffian duct development, also will be absent here. Why? Because testosterone is not able to act on its receptors. So what happens is all the testosterone now gets converted into estrogen because it is not able to act on its receptors. So as it is getting converted into estrogen, secondary sexual characteristics are developed. So breast is present, but axillary and pubic hair development depends on the testosterone. So as there is no testosterone, axillary and pubic hair is absent. Wonderful, clear? All of you are clear? Crystal clear till here? Right. So next what we are going to do is, so this is regarding whether the secondary sexual characteristics are present or absent. So after that, next what I want to speak about is external genitalia. Always remember guys, so external genitalia development depends purely on whether dihydrotestosterone is present or absent. So as it is a testosterone receptor defect, dihydrotestosterone also doesn't act on its receptors. So the external genitalia will be female with blind vagina. That is why these patients are taken as female fetus and they're brought up as a female fetus. So again, treatment, you continue to rear her as a female. So we do vaginoplasty for her just before marriage. But she cannot have her own genetic child because there are no gonads. And there are no ovary, right? So these gonads or testes which are there, they are usually undescended testes and they are present in the inguinal region and all. So you have to do gonadectomy. But this gonadectomy should be done after puberty, guys. Why after puberty? So you have to do it after puberty, after the secondary sexual characteristics develop. And after you have done gonadectomy, what you have to do? You have to give post-op hormone replacement therapy with estrogen. So they have to go for adoption. They cannot have their own genetic child. So I hope you understood both the conditions. Now let us see what are the differentiating points I have between both of them. So MRKH is 46XX, AIS is 46XY. So MRKH is, both are phenotypically females. MRKH and AIS again common, they don't have uterus. External genitalia is also female with a blind vagina. Till here everything is same. So both of them breast is developed. Secondary sexual characteristics are present, so breast is developed. But MRKH mein axillary and pubic hair are absent. Present. Whereas AIS mein axillary and pubic hair are absent. Whereas in AIS, axillary and pubic hair are absent. Right? So these are the main features what we have differentiating, mainly the karyotype, and another thing which is differentiating between MRKH and AIS is, so this is axillary and pubic hair is present and here AIS may they are absent. So here the gonad is ovary and here the gonad is testis. So as MRKH mein gonad is ovary, they can have their own genetic child, but AIS mein as gonad is undescended testis, they cannot have their own genetic child because there are no oocytes. So we continue to rear them both as a females. So I hope you understood what are the differentiating features and what is common. So whenever uterus is absent, your brain should think in terms of MRKH and AIS. I'm going to do one more video. Do watch that video also, where I'm going to differentiate between AIS and 5-alpha reductase. So I hope this is clear. So the second video we are going to discuss how are we going to differentiate about the AIS and 5-alpha reductase. Okay. Thank you guys. See you in the next video. Thank you so much.